Admittance Education adına hepinize çok teşekkür etmek istiyorum geldiğiniz için. Konuşma sırasınca gelenler, katılanlar daha olabilir. Genelde öyle görüyoruz. Kayıt altına alıyorum. Ondan sonra izin verirse arkadaşlar YouTube kanalında koyabiliriz diye düşünüyorum. Şeyi bir kopyasını sonra da seyretmek isteyenler olursa. Şimdi Admittance Education'ı sizler biliyorsunuzdur ama kısaca söyleyeceğim. Biz Amerika bazlı bir şirketiz. Odada işte Nazan Hoca, Yasemin ve başkaları var. Aslında diğer katılanlar da var. Serap Hanım'ı görüyorum, Vedat Bey'i görüyorum. Hoş geldiniz. E, Burada öğrencilerle çalışıyoruz Amerika'da ve Türkiye'de ve bizim Türkiye'deki işte belki bildiklerinizden farkınız biz üniversitelerden, yaz programlarından hiçbir şekilde bir kompansasyon komisyon kesinlikle kabul etmiyoruz. Etik ahlaklı bir şekilde çalışıyoruz Amerikan modeline göre. E, Orada bitireyim. İsterseniz bizim YouTube ve Instagram kanalımızı paylaşacağız zaten. Onları takip edebilirsiniz. Okay. Ben çok yakın zamanda Nova Scotia'daki üniversiteler sağ olsun bizi host ettiler. Oraya gittik meslektaşlarımla beraber ve muhteşem bir gezi oldu. Bilmediğim için bu alana gidip burada üniversiteleri görmek istedim. Fakat beklediğimden çok farklı şeyler buldum. Çünkü Kanada deyince neler düşünüyorsunuz? Ben sizin düşündüğünüzü çok konuşuyoruz çünkü anne babalarla, öğrencilerle söyleyeyim. Kutay da bana gülsün. University of Toronto, işte UBC, sonra McGill, o kadar. Ondan sonra belki Waterloo'ya başvuruyorlar. Doğru mu değil mi? Doğru mu? Aynen. Yani herkes böyle yapıyor. Ya o kadar değil. Bir de haberlerde işte Kanada yeni yabancı öğrencileri kısıtlayacak. İşte sayıları azalacak. Yani hiç bildiğiniz gibi değil. Ne olursunuz gelin bu arkadaşlardan bu işi duyun. Esasında nedir, perde arkası nedir? Çünkü bunlar size apply etmiyor bile. Yani Kanada'ya bizim başvurmaya devam etmemiz lazım. Bu sene bizim öğrencilerimizin çoğu başvurdu. Ve kabullerini iple çekiyoruz şu anda. Çünkü harika okullar. Ama Nova Scotia çok enteresan. Bir kere Türkiye'ye yakın, uçması çok yakın. İkincisi e, bir sürü üniversite yani insanların olduğu yerde yapacak çok iyi şey var. Eğitim kalitesi feci etkileyiciydi. Yani göreceksiniz arkadaşlar bahsedecekler tanıtırken kurumlarını. Onu kaçırmamanız lazım. Fiyatlar çok son derece uygun geldi bana. Yani Türkiye'de bunlar bilinmiyor. Ee, Lütfen gelin bu bilgileri alın. Bir de hatta bu konularda özel olarak ayrıntılı size bilgi verecekler. Pathways diye. O da ne demektir? Mezun olduğunuz zaman Kanada'da işte Nova Scotia'da Halifax'ta okuyan birisi sonra arkasından ne yapar hayatta? Şeye döner, Antalya'ya döner, ailesinin şirketinde çalışır. Not necessarily. Başka opsiyonlarınız olacak. Yani hepinizin istediği şeyleri duyacaksınız. Onun için biz böyle Yasemin'le uğraştık. Herkes lütfen gelsin buraya katılsın diye bizi kırmadılar. I'm just talking about how grateful I am that all three of you have shown up. So we're going to talk about. I've switched to English, so I apologize. The three speakers can determine the order, but this is what I currently have for about 5 minutes. Kutay is from the University of King's College, and he'll speak about his institution. They all will speak about their institutions briefly, and he'll discuss education in Canada as a public service and what Canada offers to their international students overall. Çünkü bazı Avrupa'daki, Türkiye'deki üniversiteler aslında halka servis etmek için bu üniversitelerin fonksiyonu o. Amerika'daki gibi illa müthiş para kazanıp da herkesin girmesi çok zor olsun diye değil. Onun için tamamen daha sosyal bir anlayışı bence temsil ediyor. Bence bunu çok iyi dinlemeniz lazım. Müthiş saygı duymama benim neden oldu. Siz de öyle hissedeceksiniz. Chris Wickers is from Dalhousie University, which I'm sure you've heard of, and he will discuss his institution as well as immigration pathways and post-graduation opportunities. And Lincoln Smith, and thank you to all three of you, is from Mount St. Vincent University, and he will discuss scholarships. Super important topic. So, from what all of you know, like University of Toronto offers some, UBC offers some. Well, there's a lot more. So you're here to find out. Is the order I cited acceptable to the speakers? Is it okay? Would you like to? So the floor is yours if you want to share any slides, albeit.
Ee, Teşekkürler Yeşim Hanım. Merhaba herkese. Benim adım Kutay Ülker. Ben University of King's College'da Chief Enrollment and Student Life Officer'ım. Aynı bu Vice President pozisyonundayım. 2000 yılında ben geldim Kanada'ya ve 2000 yılından beri burada yaşamaya devam ediyorum ve post secondary education sektöründeyim. Size şimdi ilk başta King's Üniversitesi hakkında çabuk bir bilgi vermek istiyorum. Ondan sonra İngilizce olarak. Ondan sonra eğer zamanımız kalırsa Q&A session'ında ben size Türkçe veya İngilizce şekilde yardımcı olabilirim. Can you guys see my screen? You can see the slideshow, right?
Yes,
Not
yes,
just
we
the
can
empty
see
screen.
them.
Okay, because I've done that before. I don't want to do that again. Okay, very quickly, University of King's College is one of the oldest universities in the world. Actually, it's been around since from the 1786. It's a small size university located in Halifax, Nova Scotia. We are very much known for our um, small classroom sizes as well as our personalized education. We are sharing campus with Dalhousie University. We are neighbors, which means that we are actually attached to each other. And we have a very unique relationship with Dalhousie University, which I will talk about it in a second. As I mentioned before, King's is on the Dalhousie campus, right on the corner here. We are two universities, one degree. So what does that mean? That is that you can attend King's University's signature programs like the foundation year program, which I'll talk about in a second, or general admissions into arts, science, journalism, music degrees. And then while you start your degrees with us, you may be able to continue with Dalhousie. You can do majors, minors combinations with Dalhousie University. And when you graduate with two diplomas from both universities, from University of King's College and Dalhousie University as well. And although we have a lot of services on our campus, we share a lot of services with Dalhousie too. So, for example, if you are into sports like I am, you can be a King's student, but you can use all of the Dalhousie's facilities just like any Dalhousie student can. As I mentioned, we have a lot of different degree options in conjunction with Dalhousie. I don't want to go too much into them, but anything from sciences to arts. We do not have engineering, and we do not have any engineering connections to Dalhousie, unfortunately. So if you're interested in that programs, I would recommend looking at Dalhousie or any other options in Halifax. So as a summer program, for those of you who might be in grade 10, 11, we have a humanities for young people. So if you're interested in liberal arts, liberal education, pre-law, things like that, we have a summer program where you'll be able to come and take a camp with us, where you'll be able to experience what it feels to be a University of King's College student, and to see if liberal arts is up your alley and will get you where you want to go. And the cool thing about this is that the credits learned in the humanities for the young people program applies to your degree, so you'll have to take less courses in your first year. As I mentioned, we're in Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's a very safe and welcoming city. I'll talk about this later in detail, but I had the choice of studying either US or in Canada, and any of the cities that I wanted to go to. And I chose Halifax because of that the feeling of welcomeness, safety, the level of activity, the accessibility. You can easily walk anywhere or take a bus, and it's very vibrant culture and food environment. And this is where Halifax is. Boston is right here. I mean, it looks pretty small, but you don't want to drive. I think it's about 2 hour flight. In Canada, everything is a bit of a hike. From Halifax to Toronto is about an hour and a half flight. If you have to drive from Halifax to Toronto, you're looking at about 20 hours. So that's a scale for you. So as I said, I know I don't want to take too much time. University of King's College is known for its foundation year program. This is a first year program modeled after the Oxford University in England. This is a cohort-based program where a class of students meet with the faculty members. Every day there's a different faculty member, and they read great books. And things like, Dante's Inferno, Odyssey, and so on and so forth, other books. And they discuss arts, journalism, science, and music through these. And you can attend the FIP foundation year program, and then you can continue into, again, any of the majors in arts, science, music, or journalism. And it will be a great way to start your undergraduate education, because it gives you the incredible skills of critical thinking, writing, presentation skills, and to be able to function in an environment where maybe AI is not going to be available for you, and you'll be able to future-proof your education. Also, foundation year program produce a lot of Rhodes scholars. So if you're interested in Rhodes Scholarship, I can talk to you about that later as well. As I said, we have a special arrangement with King's and Dell, so you can start your program at foundation year and then continue into Dalhousie later on. And again, I'll be more than happy to talk about this in detail if you have any questions. But if you need to think about it, it's like Oxford University has a Trinity College as a really closely related high quality smaller university. We're in that kind of relationship with Dalhousie. Also, we have other connections with other universities across Canada. Like for example, if you attend our foundation year program and pass it, you have a reserved seat in University of Calgary's law school, for example. So last year there was 5 applicants to University of Calgary from Nova Scotia. All of them came from King's, and all of them got accepted. Although one of them decided to go to UBC for their law school. So it's about decision. How am I doing with the time? Okay. And the last thing I want to talk about is the
You're good.
journalism program. So King's University has one of the best known journalism schools in Canada. So for those of you who are interested in investigative journalism or creative writing and other journalism related career paths down the way, King's would be definitely one of those schools that will stood up for you. But also journalism program in the undergraduate level is a great precursor for, working for policy studies down the road, like doing a master's program in that, or working for the government, or it could be a great way to get into the law programs down the road at other universities like Dalhousie or University of Calgary or any other Canadian institution. Just going very quickly, we have an experiential learning program for the undergraduate students. So we make sure that your arts degree or liberal arts degree is not just that, it's an applied arts degree. So we have lots of on-campus, off-campus work experiences available for international students too. And we have tons of varsity teams for a small university our size. That's really unheard of. So if there's any good soccer players or football players among you, or any good volleyball players, I would really like to hear from you, because there's always space for you to be part of our Blue Devils teams, and you will get additional scholarships for that too. So I'll stop there and turn it over to my colleague Chris, who's actually maybe 250 meters from me, sitting in his office. Yeah.
Give or take a few meters, but yeah, that's about right. Yeah, so I'm just going to just take a second here to pop my presentation up on the screen, and I'll just make sure to get a visual check from folks in the room. And I always love going after Kings because they set the table for a lot of what I'm going to talk about, but I can expand on a lot of that stuff. So just give me one quick moment here, and I will share the presentation with all of you.
Maybe while you're doing that, can I just add one quick thing?
Sure.
I lived in I had not been to Halifax before. Now I want to go back. Amazing place. But I lived in Boston for 10 years. It was really a lot like that, but just safer and nicer. This is what I thought. Would you agree? Yep. No.
Looks like they might be frozen. I do agree, though. If you can
Okay.
still hear me, I definitely agree. Halifax is basically just a smaller Boston, but there's a lot
Still
of
beautiful. Yeah.
comparatives there for sure. University town, Port
Yeah.
City, old. Yeah.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. I want to bring the family next time. Gosh, what happened? We
We seem to have lost both Kings and Dal.
well,
Oh,
that's interesting. Because our Wi-Fi is okay, which,
Did Chris drop off? Because mine went away as well.
yeah, you're back. Yeah, the rest of us were here. I think Chris dropped off. We're just talking
Okay.
about how
Yeah,
beautiful
I
Halifax
uh, I I think that
is.
was my issue based on what I could tell. So I'll just share my screen again here.
Okay, thank you.
Seems that I broke Zoom when I share my presentation.
Hey, I'm in
I'll
a
try it again.
remote city in Turkey right now, so I thought it was me. I was worried.
I honestly thought I wasn't surprised to hear it was me. All right, can you see my screen? And now
Yes,
can you see my presentation
yes.
up?
Yep.
Perfect.
But we see the, oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get rid of this bar here. I see that you're seeing that too. There we go. All right, so yes, so thank you very much for taking a bit of your time here. I'm just going to set a little visual timer on my side just to make sure that I stay on task and on time as well too. I like to do that to myself to challenge myself on that. So my name is Chris Vickers. My role is to support international students seeking admission to Dalhousie, primarily for undergraduate programs. I do some recruitment for graduate programs as well, because Dal, as you'll learn here through this presentation, is a comprehensive university that offers programs at the bachelor's levels, master's levels, PhDs. So we are quite comprehensive in that sense. I'll share this slide deck with you if you want at the end of it too. There's some QR codes. You can link to some parts of our website there. They'll give you some more content information. And all that good stuff as well. So just to give you a sense of by the numbers for Dalhousie, we are the largest university in Nova Scotia, but we are mid-sized by Canadian standards when you look at our student population. So about 21,000 students call Dalhousie home. About 17,000 of those students are studying at the undergraduate level, so bachelor's degrees. So the majority of our students, in fact, are at that level. And about 21% of our students, so just not quite a quarter, but are international students as well from about 115 countries worldwide. So a very diverse audience that we have at Dalhousie. We actually attract more students from outside of Nova Scotia than inside our own province to come to Dalhousie. So when you come to Dalhousie, you'll actually see students not only from Nova Scotia, but from all over Canada and from about 115 countries around the world as well. So you're getting a really good, diverse mix of perspectives in some of your first year classes and through your engagements in your first year as well. We offer over 200 plus programs. About 90 of those are at the master's levels and 45 of those are at the PhD level. The rest are just bachelor's undergraduate programs. We offer $67 million in entrance awards, scholarships. There's some also scholarships for returning students, depending on their performance in terms of their GPA and all that good stuff. 94 Rhodes Scholars, which is by far one of the largest proportion of Rhodes Scholars in this region in Canada. And it puts us up there with some of the Ivy League schools in the States, like Princeton's, really well against those institutions when it comes to the number of Rhodes Scholars that we've graduated in our time as well, too. In terms of campus, it's really kind of hard. I'm just going to minimize some screens here. In terms of campus itself, it's really hard to, I wish I could take you here today and show you around campus. And I know the folks on Minutes Education were on our campus as well too, seeing things, but we have great facilities to accommodate students when it comes to libraries, athletic centers, residence spaces, and also just some really beautiful outdoor spaces to really kind of make it inspiring while you're here as well. Like I said, if you want to take a moment and if you have your phone on you and you don't have it using for the presentation right now, feel free to scan this QR code and have a look at our virtual tour that we offer online as well. I'll take a moment as well too. We do offer another campus experience in our Faculty of Agriculture in Truro, Nova Scotia. They're primarily geared towards agriculture-based programs. So students are looking to study in the fields of sciences and agriculture, animal sciences, bioveterinary sciences. So for example, if you're looking to aspire to maybe become a veterinary medical doctor, for example, those are the programs and pathways we would offer through our Truro campus to go onto those pathways as well too. Campus itself is much smaller. Our Halifax campus is approximately 19,000 students, and about 1,000 of our students actually study on the Truro campus. So it's a very small campus in comparison to the city campus in Halifax. Halifax is kind of a mix of kind of the big city with the small town feel. We have about 450,000 residents that live in the city, and then in Truro, only about 12,000 residents live in that city. So it's very, very different vibes in terms of the overall audience as well, too. So in terms of facilities as well too, there's like the campus is really part of the downtown area of Halifax. It's an extension of our campus. You can go downtown and see the boardwalk, the restaurants, the great shops that we have as well too. It's a very cosmopolitan city with lots to offer students. So not only do you get the access to campus, but there's access to a lot of the great amenities that makes Halifax quite unique. In Truro as well, there's a lot of great space to the beautiful outdoors. So things like the beautiful parks, the libraries, the downtown of Truro as well. And just being surrounded by nature is another great advantage of that city as well too. Very comprehensive in terms of supports and student services. So we have health and wellness, mental health services, international student advising would be kind of some of the key ones that I would highlight here. In terms of advising as well too, we do offer things like immigration support. We have dedicated and regulated immigration advisors that work at Dalhousie that can provide you advice with study permits, visas, even post-grad work permits, for example, or post-grad opportunities, working in Canada in general as a student, whether it's on campus, off campus, through our co-op programs or through the post-graduation work permit as well too. We offer orientation programs. We also have a community hub for international students right in the center of our campus. And then in our office in student recruitment and marketing, we offer centralized like international admissions and recruitment support. And we also offer like webinars, one-on-one meetings for students who need personalized guidance as well too. Just a brief look at the faculties here. Like I mentioned some of them earlier, we have the agricultural faculty. It's the only campus with an on-site teaching firm in our region. We have a faculty of architecture and planning. So if you're looking to become an architect or an urban planner, a great faculty for that as well with a bachelor's degree available in the planning department. We also have the largest arts and social sciences faculty in Atlantic Canada with great programs like a Bachelor of Arts with many different disciplines and options you can choose from, including a Bachelor of Music. We also offer bachelor's degrees in computer science and applied computer science in our Faculty of Computer Science. We offer a full-on engineering program, a Bachelor of Engineering in our Faculty of Engineering. We also offer three great business options through our Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Management, and our Bachelor of Combined Recreation Management, with options to do co-ops and paid internships at different organizations of students' choosing. We also really offer one of our more extensive programs is the Bachelor of Science with world-class research that is ranked faculties that work in those spaces as well, and a lot of great industry connections through those programs. So the Bachelor of Science and the Bachelor of Medical Science is available in that as well. Sorry, my screen is responding very slow here. We also offer experiential learning. So through co-ops, internships, 90% of our students do participate in this stuff along the way as well. We do offer guaranteed residence for all new high school students. Lots of single room options available. We offer different kind of meal plan options to accommodate different dietary concerns. And we also have supports built into residence as well too. So giving students really access to a really supportive network when they make the transition to Dalhousie. We offer extracurricular activities through our Dalplex, which is our athletic center, and we have one of those in Truro as well, the Langell Athletic Center. We also offer varsity sports at the highest level. In terms of fees, I won't go through them in great detail here. I'll share the slide deck with you, but that's the average range. I'll just leave it up for maybe a couple of seconds, but that's the average range you can expect in Canadian dollars for 1 year, depending on the program you choose. And again, more information about this is available on our website as well. We do offer scholarships and entrance awards. Again, the deadline for those typically for starting in September every year is usually the 15th of February before that date. In terms of admission requirements, we do require typically a grade 12 level education, 5 academic courses we look for, and then we look for English typically as one of those 5 subjects. And then it could be a combination of some math or science subjects, depending on what program you might be looking for as well. We do consider international curriculums, like the US curriculum is recognized at Dalhousie. So that's just the highlights over here of our admission requirements around that. The IB program is also recognized as well, and we do recognize other curriculums, international curriculums along that line as well. And then just a couple things to wrap up here. October 15th is the application open for that date. The key deadline to apply for this September is February 15th. If you want to be considered for entrance awards and scholarships, and then the academic year would start in usually late August, early September as well. So I'll leave it at that. I know I went over time a little bit, but please feel free if you have any questions. I'll be sticking around to answer some Q&A afterwards, and I'll stop sharing my screen here. Pass it over to, I believe, Lincoln.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, and thank you to Admittance Education for having me today, and thank you to everyone who has joined. It's a pleasure. So can everyone see my screen? I've also had the mistake of starting
Oh,
without people being able to see it.
yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. So my name is Lincoln Smith. I represent Mount St. Vincent University. We are a public university in Halifax. We turned 150 years old in 2023. We are not located on the Dalhousie campus. We are a short, I'd say about 20-minute bus ride away, 10-minute drive, depending on traffic from downtown Halifax. So you can actually see on the bottom center of the screen here where King's and Dalhousie is located. And so Mount St. Vincent University is just outside of the downtown core of Halifax. But we are very easily accessible. Halifax is a pretty small city. So, like I mentioned, it's about a 10 to 20-minute drive to downtown. We have buses that pass right by our campus that would take you past our largest shopping center, our largest grocery stores, and basically anything that you would need. So there's really never a need for you to take a bus longer than maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on the traffic, to get to anywhere in the city and anything that you would like. This is our campus. We are located on a hill overlooking the Halifax Harbor, surrounded by 40 acres of green space. So when you're on our campus, it kind of feels like you're actually in a small town. It's very quiet. We have families of deer. We have crows that come and roost on our campus every night. And so it does kind of have that small town vibe. But as I mentioned, very easy access right into the city of Halifax. So it's a really nice balance. It is a small campus. So from one end to the other, you're looking at about 5 minutes walk to get from your bus up to the top of the hill. Everything in between, residence buildings, library, all your classrooms are within that. So very easy to get around, very easy to navigate. We do offer on-campus housing as well. The best part is that regardless of which residence option you choose, they are all guaranteed single rooms. You'll never have to share with another person, which I think is really a nice element. So what makes Mount St. Vincent University unique? There's so many great options within Halifax and within Canada. So one thing is that our class sizes are very small. On average, 24 students. The largest class you'll ever have is 60 students. But on average, especially as you move through your program, you could end up in classes of around 10, 15 students, which creates a personalized learning environment where you get one-on-one time with your professors, where they'll know you by name. Where you'll get to work very closely with your classmates. So it's a much different type of university experience. It's honestly, the classroom environment is probably similar to what you have in high school, which I think for international students is very beneficial because you're coming to a new country, new culture, maybe second language. It's nice to not feel overwhelmed in such a large space where nobody knows you, to be recognized, for your professor to say, "Hey, Lincoln, how are you doing?" That kind of thing goes a long way in making you feel welcome and making you feel like you're supported and that you're cared about, which is very important, I think, for international students. Our entire student body is just over 4,000 students. So to put that in perspective, we are quite a small university, but we are incredibly diverse, just like Halifax, just like Canada. We have people that come from everywhere. So you'll certainly meet fellow Turkish students if you're on our campus, but then you'll have the opportunity to meet students from all over the world and grow that network to have friends in every corner of the globe after you graduate. We're primarily undergraduate school. So we do have some master's programs, but for the majority, we're offering undergraduate bachelor programs. But what's great about that is you'll have access to research opportunities as early as your first year of your undergraduate programs. That's something that is, again, unique to smaller universities. And then you also have the opportunity to engage in work experience, work integrated learning, co-ops, internships, practicums in every undergraduate program. It doesn't matter if you're studying sciences or communication or history, you'll have an opportunity to apply what you're learning in the real world, which is fantastic. Here is a list of our undergraduate programs. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of time to go through them all now, but you'll see they're kind of categorized into Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and Professional Studies. I know that a lot of universities across Canada offer psychology, biology, chemistry, but what makes MSVU's programs different? Again, it's those small class sizes. Biology, chemistry, these are challenging subjects, you know. Having the opportunity to stop your professor, say, hey, excuse me, Dr. Smith, could you go back actually? Could you repeat that, please? Sure, Lincoln, let me do that for you. How can I help you? That type of interaction is something that you're only going to get in that small classroom environment. And it can go a long way ensuring the success, you know, of you and your program. Where we stand out, though, is our professional studies programs. These programs all have big elements of work integrated learning involved with them. So you can actually get up to a full year of work experience as part of these programs. And many times that's paid as well. But more than just making money, it's about the connections that you make to the business community. It's about gaining the experience, figuring out what you like and you don't like. And so when you graduate, you're career ready. You have the experience, you have references that you can use when you're applying for a job. And in fact, 90% of graduates from our professional studies programs have found a job within their field within the first 6 months. So if you're looking for programs that are going to lead to career outcomes right away after you graduate, I want to start working. These are the programs that I would recommend for you. And I would love to chat more about them. So if you are interested, if you see anything there that kind of stands out to you that you'd like to know more about, I'll leave my contact information at the end, and I'd love to chat with you more about that, the types of work experience that you can have while you're studying, what your courses would be like, stuff like that. Another great thing about MSVU is that we offer the most affordable tuition in Nova Scotia, so around 22,000 Canadian dollars per year, full-time study at the undergraduate level. Our residence fees are also incredibly affordable. They have the option for full meal plans. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week are provided to you. You never have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. We've got vegan, halal, cuisine from all over the world. It's great. So as you can see, it is a really affordable option to earn a high quality education in Canada. You'll have a bus pass included, as I mentioned, very easy to get all around the city. And something very special is our sibling discount. If your brother or your sister and you study at the same time, one of you will receive 50% off of your tuition fees, 50%, as long as you're both attending the university at the same time. It's an incredible opportunity. And you don't have to start at the same time. So if one of you starts next year and then your brother or your sister joins you 2 years later, as long as you're both here at the same time, one of you will receive 50% off of your tuition fees. Now, to help offset the cost even further, we offer very generous scholarships. So if you are a grade 12 student applying to MSVU and you have an average of at least 80% or equivalent, right? If you're doing a curriculum where your grades are in A, B, C, it's all good. We'll equate that. If you have an 80% or higher average, you're guaranteed an entrance scholarship. And the higher your average, the more money you will get. So at 80%, you'll receive $750 per year. It is renewable, all the way up to $10,000 per year. So if you had like a 100% average, you would receive $10,000 per year. Now, I understand that getting 100% average is very difficult, but if you're somewhere in that like 90 to 94% range, you might be looking anywhere from like $3,000 to $6,000 per year, which is almost a third of the tuition fees. So, you know, it's a really great opportunity. And this is an automatic scholarship. You don't have to apply for it. You apply to the university, we get your transcript, we automatically assess you, we automatically offer you that scholarship. In addition, there are additional scholarships that you can apply for. I've listed a couple of our like most significant ones there. The President's Scholarship is a full ride. So that's full coverage of tuition, residence fees, textbooks, everything for the entirety of your program. The Leadership Award offers a free room and residence for your first year, but we've got literally like 50 plus more scholarships that you can apply for. They all have different eligibility criteria. Some are only for women, some are for like if you're studying specific programs, some are specifically for international students, but you can apply to as many as you'd like. So I always encourage students just to submit as many applications as you think you might get, because worst case, you don't get it. Best case, you have more money towards the cost of your education. We also offer on-campus jobs, student works programs. So lots of opportunities for you to earn money towards the cost of your education. So, you're turning an already very affordable tuition fee into an even greater opportunity. Applying is very simple. You apply online, msvu.ca. There's an $80 application fee. There's a few documents that we need, and that's it. If you ever have questions, if you ever want to discuss programs, admission requirements, anything like that, please reach out. Happy to hear from you. We can meet virtually. We can chat on the phone. We can chat on WhatsApp. This is my email address and phone number. I would love to hear from you. So thank you again for taking the time to listen to me today. And thank you again, Admittance Education, for offering me the opportunity.
So this is amazing. Thanks to all three of you for the briefings on each of the institutions. So Yasemin and I have been dropping nuggets in the groups because we're kind of bewildered. Of course, I know what you were going to say because I've come and visited, but basically this is amazing quality, and there's lots of opportunities around gaining a practical experience. So we had isolated some topics we can discuss. Can we maybe get into a little bit of that in terms of how Canada looks at its education as a public service and how internationals fit? Maybe just start with that topic if that's all right, and then proceed to the other two. So,
Right. So that's back to me. Can you guys see my screen?
yes.
So very quickly to go through this, I guess nothing against our colleagues from the United States, but the main comparison here is going to be around US versus Canada kind of comparison, and the UK and Australia, but more to US. So one of the things that really sets us apart is all the institutions here that I mentioned, talking to you right now, are public institutions. So they're non-profit institutions. So they're in for the sake of education to do a public service. And in Canada, most of the universities and most of the universities that you'll be talking to will be public institutions. That also means that there is a level of quality assurance that happens across Canada. It doesn't matter if you're in Nova Scotia or Alberta or British Columbia. There's a level of funding and quality requirements that the government sets for institutions. So the difference, like perceived quality difference between institutions, are very, very small. And that it comes down to choice, fit, and the program of your interest. Another thing is that Canadian degree is worldwide recognized. So it is it's a worldwide recognized degree that you can take from Canada, go to anywhere around the world, and you can use it for further education, like master's or PhD programs, and or to find employment. Canadian education is highly sought after, thanks to, again, standards of academics, and also the amount of research that the students gets to do in their primary level and undergraduate level and undergraduate level. So it is definitely topped as one of the top education systems in the world. Oops, sorry. But when you focus down on the students, why Canada versus any other international destinations, is that there's a big emphasis on the students' success and well-being in Canada. We really care for our students. We try to take best care of them and make sure that they succeed in their programs, because we see their success as our success. Anything from mental health to creating safe and inclusive environment, and to give them that thinking skills that will be able to make sure that they're successful anywhere around the world. And of course, there's the cost piece of it. From personal experience, I can tell you that my sister went to a United States institution, I'm not going to name it, versus me going to a Canadian institution, and our tuition amounts that was paid was like, she paid 5 times more than I did, and the quality of the education and the results that you get from that education was similar, if not better, because I like to toot my own horn. And actually, my sister, after doing her undergraduate in the United States, opted to do her graduate studies in Canada because she recognized that the cost of education was much, much better. Obviously, there's also the opportunities around French education for those of you who might be interested in that. Quebec has institutions that predominantly teaches it in French, but they also have English-speaking institutions as well. And another part is that the work permit and off-campus pieces, I'm not going to get into that too much. I believe one of my colleagues are going to talk about that. Chris, is that your area? Okay. And then the last part I wanted to talk to you about was that when we are trying to attract international students, we really do keep their best interest at heart, and that we are trying to commit to an internationalization, not only of our campuses, but our academic programs as well. So at the end of it, it's a public trusted education system, globally recognized, opportunities to study and work in the same time while you're studying, and values fairness, inclusion, and opportunity. So I'll stop there and turn it over to Chris.
Can I just segue into Chris's section? I just want to point out the blindingly obvious, like Kutay is a Turkish name, obviously. So the next section will be about pathways, and he just discussed his experience. So we want to know, Turkish students always want to know about what's available to them in terms of those experiences. So Chris, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out the obvious. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. So in terms of I'll just kind of give you kind of a broad overview, and I won't get into the weeds because a lot of this stuff can be quite dense and it can be quite overwhelming when you're kind of trying to do this in one kind of 1 hour session. But in essence, Dalhousie, King's, the Mount, every university in Canada, to Kutai's point, a lot of these services that we invest in is to support students. One of those support systems that we have in place at many of our institutions is support around immigration advising. So things, for example, like getting to Canada initially as an international student. When Kutai came from Turkey, likely you would have had to apply, for example, a study permit for authorization to come study in Canada, and a visa to enter Canada as well too. So I'm saying the study permit and visa because in some cases you might require both in order that you'll likely be issued both if you're approved to get in to Canada. But in essence, that's the initial part. The way you get a study permit in Canada is you have to get a letter of acceptance from a Canadian university before you can apply for that permit. So all of us will recommend in this room that you apply extremely early in the process because the timeline to get a study permit approved in Canada can vary quite significantly depending on what time of the year you apply and also what region you're from. So we strongly encourage an application quite early on in the year. And most of our institutions will review you for admission when you start your final year of high school. So we might assess you based on maybe your performance from last year, maybe what you're planning on taking this year, and we can make what we call an early conditional offer. And that offer that we give you can be used to apply for the next steps in terms of immigration. Now, when it comes to being in Canada and you've gone through that step, we do have elements of options if students want to stay and work in Canada, either as a student for a part-time job, or if they want to work on or off campus as well. Our immigration team can ensure that you have the correct documents in place to do that. So in some cases, you might be okay to work for a certain number of hours per week just based on the study permit you get. But if you want to work more than that or in different specific industries, maybe requiring other kind of permits, our international center team can help you with that as well too. There's also another work permit that we also will issue, not us issue, but you might need. It's called a co-op work permit. So if you're going to work as part of your program, there's a requirement to work as part of your degree program through what we call a co-op program. Then there's also a permit needed for that. All of that to say, we have an immigration advisor team that are all regulated and certified to speak to those matters, and we will give you information you need to get to those steps as well too. And just the final piece I'll talk about in terms of post-graduation, students who graduate from eligible Canadian designated learning institutions are also eligible to apply for a post-graduation work permit. Typically, that permit will be anywhere between a starting point of about 8 months to up to 3 years to work in Canada following graduation. Generally speaking, it's going to be an open work permit to work in anywhere you want in Canada. There are sometimes provincial programs that will maybe might be able to fast track those options for you as well. But for the most part, you're going to have to apply for that following typically graduation. And again, our immigration advisors can help you with that. The nice thing is with universities in Canada, our degrees are quite beneficial to have in terms of undergraduate bachelor's degrees or master's degrees to have access to post-grad work permits. In most cases, if you're attending a full degree seeking four-year bachelor's degree program in Canada, it's typically a little easier to go through that process as opposed to if you're going to, say, a college which offers 1 or 2 year diplomas. Not all of those programs at the college level may be eligible for the post-grad work permit, for example. But universities are typically isolated from that standard as well, too. And we will give you all the documents you need to arrive to Canada. The newest thing that most of our universities, Canada, have is it's called a provincial attestation letter, and that will be included as part of your admission typically. It's a letter that is from the jurisdiction you've been accepted to that authorizes you to come to that province to study in Canada. Again, I'm giving you probably more information that you need at this point as well, but just so you know, you will have access to our support network, and we will give you all those key pieces of information to ensure that you have the transitional documents needed to arrive in Canada as well. And I'll leave it at that because I could go on for hours about immigration, but that's just not the point of this today.
No, but that's excellent and all really salient issues. Yani, when Turkish students, Turkish families make the decision to apply and to make that particular deliberate decision, I think those are important. And I think Lincoln is going to speak next about scholarships because we've heard a little bit of this emerging theme throughout the three presentations that they're available. Geez, we didn't know that. We thought it was only Toronto, so I'm kidding. But there's a lot of lot available. So would you lead us through that piece, please?
Sure. I'm going to share a resource here that I think is just really great for international students considering studying in Canada to be aware of. EduCanada is an organization that promotes international education in Canada. And within the EduCanada website, you'll find information on all the universities across the country, including scholarship opportunities, because every university has different kind of scholarship offerings. In general, though, yeah, wherever you do choose to go, there will be scholarships available to you. I would say generally that there aren't a whole lot of full ride scholarships available. My colleagues might want to, contribute to that as well. I know I did mention that we do have one full ride scholarship available at MSVU. We usually give away about 2 or 3 of those a year, so it's quite competitive and quite limited. But generally, we don't, across Canada, have a ton of full ride scholarships. They are more partial scholarships. And they come in many different forms. So as I mentioned, there's scholarships that are automatically awarded upon entrance based on your grade 12 GPA. There's scholarships that you can apply for that have different eligibility criteria, right? So, you might be required to write an essay to prove why you deserve the scholarship. There's need-based scholarships. That's a big one. If you can demonstrate that you are of financial need, then there could be, some scholarships for you that way. There's also what we call like in-course scholarships, which would be based on the coursework that you're actually doing at universities. So if you come to MSVU, you're doing really well in your classes, you could actually be nominated by a professor to earn one of these awards, which would then be put towards the cost of your education for the remainder of your program. But it is really, I guess, the main point I want to make is it is really institutional dependent on what types of scholarships are available. So EduCanada is a great resource. But also, I would encourage you, if you have a few universities in mind that you're interested in, you can always reach out to the folks like us that are here today to discuss that. And that's our job, is to share that information with you and make sure that you're well aware of what financial aid opportunities are available. Colleagues, did you want to jump in there at all?
Yeah, one of the things that I would strongly recommend to students in this form is that as a Turkish student, Doesn't matter if you have IB, AP, or Turkish curriculum. We will consider all of those for admission awards or scholarships. Those are automatically given. There are chances that you can stack things on top of each other. So as Lincoln was saying, although you may not be able to get, say, a full ride scholarship, you will still be able to get 80% different percentages of your fees paid for. And then on top of it, you may be able to get some on-campus employment, although should not look at that as your way to balance the books kind of thing. It's just more like a pocket change kind of thing. So for example, this year at King's, we have a Turkish student who came from Istanbul, and she was able to, by combining entrance awards, major scholarship that she won, and a bursary that we were able to give because of her parental income, was able to get 90% of her fees covered. So that leaves only a small percentage, like $3,000-4,000 a year, that she will have to cover in order to pay for a full year's education, and that's incredible value for the money you're spending.
That's amazing. Thank you. Anything to add? We heard sports, we heard siblings, the discounts. I think there's a lot in this domain, that Turkish parents and students don't realize. Yeah.
Leadership, another one, for students who are highly involved in either their campus, school community, or their community in which they live, or sports teams, as we mentioned. There's lots of ways that you can demonstrate that. So a large portion would be, most scholarship applications, with the ones that require an application, require a letter or an essay for you to explain why you deserve it. So it's a great opportunity for you to convince those that are reading it as to why you deserve it.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note too, just in terms of the overall financial aspect of this, when you're applying for your study permit to come to Canada, you will have to prove that you have a certain amount of funds available to you to fund the first year, typically the first year of the tuition plus living cost as well too. So when you factor all of that stuff in, every aspect of financials you can have presented for that case will definitely be beneficial. So if there's a significant scholarship, or if there's funding coming from various sources, it's going to be incredibly important to document that and provide the official documents that you need to kind of prove that to immigration. We universities do not rule on cases of immigration. We don't decide who gets a permit, who doesn't. We support with the documents you need to apply for that, but that's a separate government entity in Canada that kind of adjudicates all those cases. So we will provide you with the documents you need in terms of like the letter of acceptance, the provincial attestation letter. But when it comes to providing your information about you, like your finances, that's going to be up to you. So any scholarship you can qualify for, to present that as part of your case as to why you're able to not only come to Canada, but sustain yourself while you're there, will be very important information to share with the immigration folks in Canada for that reason.
And last thing that I want to say, which I don't think mentioned, is that although in recent years it got a little less appealing, cost of living, especially on the east coast of Canada, is much more affordable than compared to most of the United States and most of Canada. So, for example, some students, interested in larger cities like Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, will quickly find that cost of living can be prohibitive in terms of being an international student in those areas, especially if your finances are somewhat tight. So I would strongly recommend you, when you're making your decision, is not only putting offers next to each other, say, okay, this university is giving me $5,000, but this university is giving me $6,000. That other university may be in downtown Toronto, where a single bedroom apartment can cost upwards of $3,000 a month to rent, whereas in Halifax that would be less than half of that. And so definitely take a look at the overall cost of it, especially not just one year, but 4 years, with the mindset that if there was something unfortunate to happen and the student lost their scholarship due to their academic performance or something else, that there's a backup plan. So just to put that out there.
So A
Sorry, go ahead.
question for you. That's such a good point. So, as educational consultants, when people say, "Okay, what is it in the U.S. for a year?" If you're in New York, that's actually more expensive. But on the average, it's around $20,000 a year, U.S. dollars in the U.S. right now. What do you think it would be in your region, in Halifax, for instance?
In the residence with the meals, and everything, I think we're looking around 15 to 20,000 Canadian, and my colleagues can correct me on that, but that's Canadian dollars. So right there,
Mhm.
you're saving 40,000 less, you're spending less, and then also you're spending
Yeah.
less on the what is it called exchange rate. Plus, many students don't realize that, but in most of the US, health insurance can be an issue, whereas in Canada, health services, once you become an international student, depending on where you are, you may be able to purchase a very cheap international student health insurance that will cover a lot.
So let's compare that cost too. It's better coverage, right? And then
Mhm.
what is it, like 1,500 in in your area? What is it?
I
Correct
think
me.
it's less than that
For
Less than that.
per
Yeah,
year.
it depends. It depends on the institution and the plan and also what it covers. Like some plans cover both like health and dental, for example. So that could vary the cost as well. But I believe that's about right. Like maybe just to be conservative here, like just to kind of give you a sense of but again, it would cover a lot of the things that you wouldn't need while you're here. If you need prescription medication, if you need doctor's visits, if you need specialist appointments,
Yeah.
that stuff would be covered under the health authority or the health plan you would get here, along with access to our healthcare system in terms of getting the proper provincial medical card in order to access external clinics and that kind of stuff too.
And so is that about the right number in Canadian dollars? 15.
I'll double check. Maybe give me like
Thousand to
2 seconds.
thousand to
I'll double check the
1,500
fee.
is what we usually say. $1,000 to
Yeah,
$1,500.
yeah.
Okay. So duydunuz Kanada doları. I'm sorry I'm saying this in Turkish. Maybe
Yeah.
Kutay can help me. But coverage yani sağlık sigortası dediğinde dişten işte reçeteye kadar yani Amerika'daki coverage'ın çok daha üstünde. Amerika'da bunun iki katından daha fazla Amerikan doları yani üç katı kadar. Kutay, is that right? It's about three.
Doğru.
Yeah, it's
Doğru.
about üç katı daha fazla Amerika'daki sağlık
Tabii.
sigortası ve daha iyi Kanada'daki. Çünkü halka nasıl servis ediyorlarsa öğrencileri de ona dahil edecekler yani onu anlıyoruz.
Şunu şöyle söyleyeyim. Mesela ben Ankara'daki bir liseyi bitirdikten sonra uluslararası üniversitelere bakarken e, Kanada ve Amerika'ya bakıyordum sadece. Ve gerçekten ödediğiniz undergraduate'daki parayla aldığınız eğitim kalitesi arasında Amerika ile gerçekten çok büyük fark var. Yani Amerika'da çok iyi üniversiteler var ama çok pahalı. Kanada'daki üniversiteler de en az Amerika'daki üniversiteler kadar iyi. Özellikle undergraduate seviyesinden bahsediyorum. Ama ödediğiniz para ve aldığınız servis çok daha iyi çünkü public institution bunlar. O yüzden ilk başta mesela ben Türk öğrencilerle muhabbet ederken onlara söylemek istediğim, eğer ileride sen işte medical school'du, law school'du veya işte daha yüksek engineering, master's, PhD programları düşünüyorsan undergraduate'ını daha
Haklı.
sana ilgi gösterebilecek küçük üniversitelerde okuyup Kanada'da ondan sonra Amerika'daki veya Avrupa'daki diğer üniversitelerde master, PhD yapma şansın e, çok yüksek. Yani o yüzden bu konuda çok büyük bir şekilde tavsiye ederim. İkincisi de tabii halen e, Amerika'ya kıyasla Kanada'da graduation'dan sonra olan iş imkanları ve öğrencilere tanınan yaşama ve Kanada'da kalıp çalışma imkanları e,
Çok daha.
çok çok daha iyi. Benim kız kardeşim Amerika'daki çok iyi bir Amerikan üniversitesini bitirdikten sonra bir senelik OPT'yi alıp ondan sonra her sene onu yenilemekten yani gerçekten gına geldi kıza. O yüzden zaten Kanada'ya taşındı ondan sonra. Ki buradaki üniversite öğrencileri üniversiteyi bitirir bitirmez garantili olarak 3 senelik bir çalışma izni alıyorlar ve oradan devam edebiliyorlar.
Yani personal experience, Amerika'da üniversiteye giden birisi olarak yabancı öğrenciydim ben de o zaman. Interview etmemize izin bile verilmiyordu çocukken. Ya sizde structured bir co-op programı var çocuklar deneyim kazansın diye yani. Elma ile portakal gibi çok farklı karşılaştırma sanki. Ha, bu arada şey dedi Chris dedi ki Dalhousie'de uluslararası sağlık planı $926 59 sent Kanada dolarıyla yani düşünün öbürü 3,5 bin Amerika doları. Yani 4-5 katı belki.
Hı
3
hı.
değil. Of. Um, so Yeshim is asking, another Yeshim, are the admission requirements for the first year engineering transfer students at Dalhousie different from those in high school graduates? Okay, for transfer, what do you think? Yes, they are.
I just typed up a response there, but typically, yeah. So the difference when you're applied directly from high school versus directly from a university or a college is that we will factor in performance at the college or university level when you're applying. So even though it might not apply to what you're planning on going to. So for example, you started off in a Bachelor of Science at say at Mount St. Vincent, and you want to switch to Bachelor of Engineering at Dalhousie in your second year. Your performance at Mount St. Vincent is important because we will look at your GPA to ensure that you have the right academic preparedness to enter our program. And university is a good measure to find out how well you did in your first year of university. So we would look at that GPA from that university if you're externally transferred from, say, that institution to Dalhousie. And we would also need to ensure that you have the right prerequisite courses. So things, for example, like for engineering, we'd be looking for like subjects in mathematics, in physics, and chemistry as well too. That could be either from the high school level, if you have them there, or if you've taken them at university and you've done better at university in those subjects, we can look at them from university as well.
I understand that there's a lot of IB and AP students here. Just FYI, there's specific IB and AP scholarships available at King's. I know there's some at Dalhousie. I'm sure there is some at Mount St. Vincent as well. So when you're applying, make sure that you choose the right category of student so that we'll be able to match you with the right scholarships. And also, again, depending on the institution, there's a chance that you'll be able to transfer credits from a high-level IB or certain AP courses into your first year. Now, it's up to you if you should or shouldn't. That's debatable. And you can, everybody has their own, what is it called? Perspective on that. But there is opportunities for you to skip some of your introductory courses. That means that you'll be able to take less courses in your first year or first semester or second semester while you're in Canada. Having said that, you still have to stay as a full-time student, as an international student, okay? So you cannot drop under, I believe, 3 courses per semester. And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but you have to have full-time status.
Yeah, typically I think it's changed a little bit, but in general speaking, like it's definitely best to have full-time status to kind of have most of the benefits that would come with the services and societies and the student supports that you would have as well. But I believe depending on what your study plan says, you can change that. But generally speaking, it's preferred to study full-time because you get access to the most range of benefits from that perspective. Yeah.
So I see that there's a question around the medical school path. So I'll quickly touch on that because it happens to be the same for all universities. So in Canada, you don't apply to medical school out of high school. Okay, you finish an undergraduate degree, and it is degree blind, aka it doesn't, like, if you can study music undergraduate and then still apply to medical school, as long as you have some of the prerequisites that are required to admission into a medical school. And then you do your undergraduate degree, and depending on your GPA, your MCAT exam results, and some universities are now doing away with MCAT and they have their own interviews. And your resume, experiential learning, your volunteer work, so on and so forth, you may be eligible for medical school. But it is very, very, very difficult for international students to get into medical school in Canada. Because medical schools seats are reserved primarily for Canadian citizens. So, and I have some Turkish students here who are studying to be in the medical school. So my advice to them usually is this: do your undergraduate, do it really well, get a high GPA. As soon as you finish your degree, start working in Canada and apply to your permanent residency in the same time. Because once you become a permanent resident, in Canada, which is like the green card in Canada, United States, then you'll be eligible for medical school, veterinarian school, dentistry, whatever, pharmacy, as a domestic student. And that experiential learning that you're doing after your graduation, between that and the medical school, will also help you get into medical school. Because I can guarantee, because I sat in the medical school admission boards before, you're not going to get into a medical school without any kind of work experience or research experience or volunteer work in Canada. Was that good, Chris or Lincoln? You want to add
Yeah,
anything?
just to further illustrate that point Kutai mentioned, we actually do not currently accept international students at all in our medical school here at Dalhousie. There's no one from outside of Nova Scotia that can actually be considered for our medical program right now at Dal. So just to kind of further put the button on that point, Kutai is absolutely right. It's just very competitive in Canada. Even medical schools that do say they take international students, usually it's very few seats. It's like perhaps one or two seats. And again, they're getting hundreds and hundreds of applications for those two seats. So not to discourage that dream for anyone, but just to be realistic about it, because we don't want to lie to you either and say that, yes, you can apply, do your pre-med and you'll all will be well. It's just, it's very competitive in Canada. And if they do accept students, it'd be very, very minimal. I think about 97% of the seats across Canada are reserved specifically for residents of Canada. And then the other 3% could be various kind of distribution around that.
That's great. This has been the richest discussion, and I'm just personally very excited that everybody's getting to hear this. We've been trying to also fill in the blanks in Turkish in the groups in the chat with Yasemin tag teaming, and I think there's a lot to be excited about. So let me say this in Turkish. I'm going to just basically say I hope people do put it on their application lists. I know my students have this year. Very impressed. But I hope there's some new awakening around, this is not just about University of Toronto. There's so much more. It's only 6 hours away from Turkey. Yani demek istediğim şey 12'ler için çok geç değil. Kanada'yı mutlaka başvuru listelerimizde consider edelim. Çünkü yani ben gittiğimde çok heyecanlandım. Sadece bu her zaman bildiğimiz 3-4 opsiyon haricinde kalite, fiyat, orada kalmak ve deneyim kazanmak, çalışmak açılarından Türk öğrencileri için yani bence dünyadaki sayılı iyi fırsatlardan bir tanesi. E, Bu kadar anlamlı olduğunu ben gidip gözlerimle görene kadar bilmiyordum ama şimdi sizler de görüyorsunuz. So hopefully that's okay. I know we're at the top of the hour. So if there's any more questions, thank you, Chris, for responding to Belkis Hanım. That's very nice. Thank you. I encourage you guys to either email the representatives who have joined us today, or let Yasemin or I know at admittance, so we will relay your question. How does that sound to everyone?
Good. Bir tek daha söylemek istiyorum çünkü ben buradaki Nova Scotia Turkish Society'sinin de bir member'ıyım. Nova Scotia'da gerçekten buraya gelen öğrencilere hem networking hem iş bulma hem de yerleşme bakımından çok iyi bir şekilde yardımcı olabilen bir society var burada. Yani o yüzden öğrenciler kendilerini burada daha bir rahatta ve güvende hissedebiliyorlar. Onu da söylemek istedim.
Fiji güvenli bir şehir gerçekten. Evet.
Facebook'ta bulabilirsiniz. Nova Scotia Society, Turkish Society of Nova Scotia diye.
Uçarken 2 uçuşla geliyorlar değil mi İstanbul'dan?
Evet.
Nereye uçuyor?
En iyi uçuş şu anda mesela ben Ankaralı olduğum için neydi adı? Halifax, Frankfurt, Frankfurt, Ankara veya işte Halifax, Frankfurt, İstanbul çok var veya Londra üzerinden direkt İstanbul'a var. Gerçekten bir aktarmayla gelebiliyorsunuz. Direkt uçuş da var İstanbul'la Kanada arasında ama o sadece Toronto ve Montreal'e var. Nova Scotia'ya gene geri uçmanız gerekiyor. O yüzden pek tavsiye etmiyorum. Lufthansa ile olan uçuşlar çok daha ucuz.
Olabilir mi? Boston Türk Hava Yolları ile oradan 2 saat. O da olabilir.
Oradan da var, evet.
Çünkü direkt uçuyor Türk Hava Yolları Boston'a.
Tabii, tabii.
Yani gelecek çok yol var. Sorry, this is
Hı
all the
hı.
flight paths. There's a stop
I
in
gathered that. Yeah.
right. Yeah, we just want to make sure everybody gets the full flavor of the discussion. That's all. Don't feel left out, please. We're working for you. So okay. Well, we're very thankful that you made time. Really, really appreciate the education on behalf of all the parents. There's a recording. I'm going to stop it now. And